Wait, so you were.
I'd say call me late for dinner.
Yeah, that is so.
I have a lot of new money.
Oh, so not.
Okay, we're live.
Welcome everyone to the Arts Commission, and welcome to our distinguished guests. I will be handing this over in about 5 seconds. To you, Ethan, welcome. And distinguished ladies over there as well.
Whichever my name is.
New name for you. Anyway, I'm going to turn the chairpersonship of the meeting now to you, Lisa, or you want to go on the main schedule?
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did everyone have a chance to review the minutes? May I get a motion to approve minutes?
I'm sorry, what are we voting on?
No, we're not.
A motion.
Okay.
Seconding?
Yeah, second, okay, second.
Okay. And all in favor, say
Aye.
yay or aye. All those opposed, nay. Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much. Welcoming our special guest, Ethan Dinkerman, again, and also from the planning department, also the administrator for historic preservation, to speak about the council chambers lunettes.
Yeah, so thank you all for having me here. It's a pleasure to. Yeah, of course. Okay. So yes, thank you all for inviting me to present. A little overview on the history of the event project. As the chairwoman said, my name is Ethan Dickerman. I'm the Historic Preservation Administrator. I've been with the City of Kingston since March of 23. I first came into knowing about this lunette project probably about December of 23. It's a multi-year, almost multi-decade project that really stems from the restoration of City Hall. As we know it, the building is from the late 1800s, and it was occupied as City Hall until the early 1970s, at which time it went vacant for almost 25 to 30 years. I believe 72 to 2000 was a vacancy, and the latter part was a restoration led by John G. Waite out of Albany. Restoration was considered sort of landmark, if you will, of historic preservation for New York City. That story. The funds at the time of the restoration, from my research, were substantial enough to result in the building's rehabilitation and our continued use. But at the time, it wasn't sufficient to fully, restore the lunettes that were installed in the building in the 1920s. There were a number of them that were put in around 2000 by a company, or restored and put back in place by a company, Evergreen Architectural Arts. But there were still about 5 that were not fully completed. They're apparently a pretty monumental project to work on. They're quite complicated. The original ones had been removed from City Hall when it was in deterioration by the former city historian Ed Ford. And from my research, they were removed and placed in storage in the basement of the Old Dutch Church. Ford recognized their significance and wanted to, prevent any substantial damage. That said, a few of them did sustain damage beyond what could be managed in the restoration process. And Ford, continued to petition over the years to find the funds, repair them, put them back in place. And through an effort led by Friends of Historic Kingston, Paul O'Neill got heavily involved. There were funds raised by donations from Ed Ford's family members and others to the city, and they were able to sort of recreate at least one of them. Around that time, there was the relief of TR Gallo that was installed on the level below us in the main hall. The two others remained absent, and hence the purpose of this discussion right now. By December of 23, the city's engineering department and others had, gone through this lengthy process of trying to identify a consultant who could, through contracted services, restore and then reinstall the lunettes, comparable to the others, or reconstruct. In this case, the final two would be a full-on reconstruction because there's so little left. Bids resulted in prices that were far beyond what was available to the city. And so some former colleagues, by bids, I'm talking about numbers in the 70,000+.
It's from whom?
From,
What kinds of people? That's all.
yeah, from
From conservatories?
conservators
Thank you.
or individuals who would be skilled with recreating income.
Oh, so it could be either. That's
Yeah.
nice.
One of them, I believe, did come from that same company that did the work in 2000, Evergreen. I think we were looking at one time around 2012, something around 40,000. And then by 2021, 2 years before I came, the price had gone up to 76,000. Today, I think the numbers are substantially higher from what I've learned. So one of my predecessors, not to my position, but in engineering, had the really brilliant idea to reach out and think of this as potentially like a community engagement or hands-on learning project for either BOCES students or undergraduate or graduate students. And so a connection was made through Paul O'Neill, Commissioner of Jurors, with SUNY New Paltz's professor in digital design and fabrication. His name is Aaron Nelson. And so Aaron Nelson informed us that he and his students could likely take this on as a project and carry it through to completion. Rather than undertake the project using plaster molds, their approach is to use a 3D type printed to create the background that is based on historic photographs and scans of other lunettes that are present to really understand the sort of the undulations, the fine texture of the material that's there, and then to probably build upon the backing with coats of plaster that would create a more handmade appearance. This has been tested in a couple different iterations over the last year or two by Nelson and his students. They had brought at least one example that was presented, I think it was in the December period of 23. At that time, there wasn't a skin coat plastic. And then more recently, I think it was earlier this year, Professor Nelson had shared some photographs of a full-size relief with sort of like a faux gold paint applied from a hardware store, if you will, to just really begin this, like, how close are we able to match it? As of right now, that's where the project stands. I believe the project is taking a little bit longer than anticipated because what we're dealing with here is you have graduate students who are graduating out of the program, and rarely do they tend to return because they're off to their futures. So we're retraining generation after generation to carry this project to completion. But my understanding is that we're looking at a 2026 timeline for completion and then likely some sort of dedication ceremony. Yes.
Thank you. That was very, very helpful and well done. I'm confused about the preservation / conservation
Right.
of existing lunettes versus creation of new lunettes.
Right.
Could you give us a sense of this many of this kind, and this many of this future kind? Because wasn't clear to me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, if I am recalling correctly, I'm gonna have to look back at my document. There were, let's see,
Just 23 Lynette restored,
yeah,
5 more were restored.
correct. So I believe what we're looking at here is 23, so there's 28. I think we're looking at 26 that are plaster, and original, perhaps 25. There might be another one that had been recreated at an earlier time of the plaster type by Evergreen. The original, but what I would say is that the majority of them, 25, 26, are original from 29. They had just been conserved, if you will, and gently restored.
When was that?
That would have been around the time of the City Hall project, 2000. if you will.
Oh, so those are considered in excellent condition?
Yes, those are the ones that are already installed.
okay.
Yes,
I said there's no, there's no damage to them since then. They're all, I haven't taken a look, so.
correct. As far as I know.
So what you're talking about now is primarily the creation of the missing.
Right. Yeah, so in preservation, this would be, the definition would be reconstruction. And in this case, we are reconstructing as best as we can using an alternative material that is as suitable to the task as we can find it.
And we know what the images.
Correct.
Because we have some of these images on paper there also.
Correct. So, in the packet, if I may, I'll hold up for you. These are some photographs that were taken. And these were used, this does show there was some damage to these, that hence resulted in not getting swung. These were like, the damage was likely taken when this building is still vacant. So these have been digitally reconstructed by the students and the professor, and the digital reconstruction is what's the template for the physical reconstruction.
When you say reconstruct, so was this repaired or the whole thing was reconstructed?
No, the original fabric, the original material is no longer in.
In those the ones that you're showing?
Right.
Yeah.
What's
But you had that much of it to the left, still remaining.
there may have been, this would have been before my
Yeah,
time. I'm not sure what would have happened to the rest of this fabric. It may be that it was so damaged that when they were attempting to take them out, it crumbled.
Is the, excuse me, anybody else? Is the new material stronger than plaster, more durable than plaster?
I do believe so.
Plastic probably is, isn't it? Of sorts, or resin.
I think it's more of a resin or
Resin.
a polymer.
That's a resin, plastic resin.
Yeah.
That's a plastic too, yeah.
I would have to talk with Professor Malkius. I do know it's substantially, right, it's more durable. I think it's more amenable to temperature changes, and it's certainly quite a bit lighter.
Yes. I have a question. We keep seeing these lunettes as gold. But in here it's that they were originally silver.
Yeah.
Where did that happen?
That's a great question, and I don't know the answer to that.
And why?
Yeah, it's a very good question. So in some of the research I did, I was able to find photographs of City Hall when it was still vacant, so like about 1998. And by that point, there were photographs of the council chambers that already showed gold paint in place. So that suggests that the paint was put in prior to the closure of building 72. So something happened at an earlier time that resulted in that. And apparently, I don't know what the impetus was, but it was because of his presence when I presume when SHPO was doing the reviews during the restoration process, SHPO, either encouraged required that it be, reinstalled. And that's why we currently have the gold highlighting.
Well, I mean, do you see layers of silver on some of the ones that are composed, or do you?
Well, I haven't been able to physically handle any of these older ones or the ones that are currently.
The reason I bring it up is that I just find the gold very hard to read from that distance. Silver, I think, would have been easier, to see to see the shade, the presentation.
Yeah, it's an interesting change in color. I wonder, what the answer to that is. And I can certainly try to dig further in on it.
I think that's kind of interesting, but for me, that's a field interest. Not necessarily in general.
Well, SHPO blessed everything that's been done so far.
SHPO was involved in all of the, I think, City Hall restoration when it came.
Yeah, but I mean, what the students are doing with the professor at New Paltz, that all of that activity.
I will have to take a look back at that and consult.
Because this is serious stuff, and just
Yeah.
curious
Yeah.
about that. Typically you ask about everything. I was preparing for the meeting. I was writing down names of conservators.
Right.
But not people to reproduce, but people to restore. But
Yeah.
so I just didn't know whether or when SHPO.
I would certainly have to consult with my engineering colleagues. But yeah, thankfully, the ones that are currently installed appear to be in very good condition, and I have not seen any signs of deterioration.
Have you seen them? The recreated ones? Have you seen the material, like you touched it, like?
Yeah, so in December of 23, when they came and visited the site and had a meeting, I think the mayor dropped in as well, and Paul O'Neill was present. They had brought small scale models of them, and the small scale model was very, very impressive. I mean, I would say it captured almost as much of the original texture as can be done. Since then, they have created the full-size model and then done the painting. I haven't seen that in person yet, but that is my hope to see that first.
So there's 5 of them that are recreated. Is that it?
No, at this point, it's only 2.
2.
It's the signing of the it's the signing of the Constitution, 1777. Thank you. And it's also a trading scene between the Munsee and the Dutch West India Company.
Has, is there a grant or funding that will pay for this ultimate?
So
inspection?
there's a memorial fund that was established.
Wait to the next one.
Yeah,
Okay.
so the Ed Ford Memorial Fund was established circa 2013. It still exists. And that was the fund that had received donations from the community. A lot of that fund has been expended. It is a restricted fund. It is only allowed to be used for the material to recreate. At least that is my understanding at this time. And there is a little bit of money left in there. I think it's something about
3,000.
3,000. Yeah.
And checking in comptroller, others, and Paul O'Neill, should we not take any of those funds? As long as the costs have to do with permits, we can use that fund, like for instance. Installation. Well, to include installation, if that's all satisfied and we still have that sitting in the fund, the funds can go towards the big event. Big event.
Oh, the
meaning
lunch, yeah.
the photographer, because you can't see them because they're right up here. So bring them down to eye level, with a presentation, and then have all these historians. Thank you, I'm so glad he's here. Eddie Moran, Taylor, Paul O'Neill, Aaron, Kate Hines, let them all take a Lynette and give us all the stories behind it because they're sitting up there. We also have a catalog that can be reproduced digitally that was done years ago. So this is part of our municipal art collection. And, you know, without us having now this person in this seat, because this hasn't been built for a long time, and now we have Ethan, he's all ours. You can see by his work, he's done this comprehensive, extensive, historic. And from here, what we do is we gather everybody that has anything to do with these lunettes from the college and all these other folks. We let them know Ethan is finally here, so we have one voice here, one single point of contact under planning. This is Richard from his history. He's been waiting for us to be, you know, working with historic preservation. And also it's a blessing to have Ethan here because he's also, you know, has his eyes on how to help with the WPA, the Work Progress Administration Project, and other historic pieces that we have in our art collection. So it's been a joy. Yeah, it's great. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But anyway, to close on that 3,000, it could go towards the event hall and the comptroller says, as long as it has to do with the lunettes, otherwise, well, I guess I have to wait until, it's just been sitting there.
Well, we'll wait to see if, how much it takes to produce the new lunettes and see if there's anything left.
Right.
Doesn't sound like a lot of money.
It's not a lot of money.
There's a lot less than the 70,000.
It's a lot less.
Substantial. I mean, the school takes up some of that. I mean, as a study, doesn't it? I mean, are they charging actually for other than materials?
I would have to talk with Professor Nelson
I don't
about
think
that.
there's a project.
The students are not being paid.
That's not what I meant. I meant, as a project, you know, as a study project.
Material costs.
Right, the material cost.
The materials.
We'll let them work.
Like lately, they want to say some of that, so the city. It's likely that they might want to have the city underwrite some of that expense for materials.
Is there any kind of agreement or was it just a kind of a handshake?
I have not found a written document at this time.
Between whom?
Donates.
Between the students and the city, so.
Or that's the important question too about some other things and
Yeah,
we're all digging, it's like, it just been a nice handshake. So we'll
you
see.
cause all the dukes.
So there is more information to be found, and I'm sure that, you know, the project is, you know, still in development and there'll be more, you know, to share with you down the road.
Great.
So yeah,
Thank you.
I hope this got you up to speed as
Very helpful.
This is
Yeah,
fascinating.
I mean, is it, I would be interested in seeing, you know, in seeing more, if there's any involvement. I'm just
Yeah.
curious because the materials are of great interest.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And if it's useful, we have good connections to, at New Paltz,
Oh, okay,
to
very good.
the dean, to the provost, and to the president.
Oh, great.
So, great, can't do that.
Okay.
Great.
Then I will reach network it.
If and when.
Yeah, yes, if needed.
Thank you, Ethan.
Well, thank you very much.
Keep on here.
All right.
But please, please keep Kit apprised. Can't wait to hear more.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, thank you all.
Right. Excited.
All right, so any other comments? We'll move on to the next item. Announcing the new Ulster County Diversity Officer.
Madam Chief or just Chief?
As we're on live, Dina Suggs is now the new Chief Diversity Officer for Ulster County.
Glad to be here. And I just met with Sarah and Jen Metzger 2 days ago.
Sarah, who?
Oh, Sarah
Kramer.
Kramer.
And she is the,
And she is the new Ulster County Arts and Culture Director. Also Open Spaces. It's also part of her title. So that'll be great. It's great to have her there, and I think she'll help us a lot with our master plan, actually. If she ticks away at some of the things that we had intended to do, I think for some items that will be important for Houston, so.
What does your position do?
So some internal, so some of it is around sort of training and, addressing just, sort of issues of diversity. But, I have some things that I'm, continuing to sort of complete that Essie started and then doing another assessment. So it'll probably, go from culture to procurement. We're just really trying to figure out ways to have everybody in the community thrive. So a lot of it's social services and ensuring that people of all abilities are actually being attended to in the way that they need to. But there's some good arts opportunities in all those realms. So I look forward to always having an eye to the arts when we talk about diversity.
Speaking of arts, we know that the statue is now moved over to, so you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I always think of you, Kit. The very day that I arrived, so did the statue. She followed me. And there's actually, if you guys are around tomorrow at 6 p.m., there'll be a short program, which will include Trina Green is actually going to speak very briefly. Everyone's very briefly going to speak, and the county executive, but it's just to welcome her to the courthouse, and there'll be some food from Good Eatin'. So if you want a little fried chicken, but it starts at, you can arrive as early as 5:30. If you haven't been to the surrogate court on the 3rd floor of the county courthouse, it's amazing. There are a lot of the documents that pertain to Sojourner's court case, right, to retrieve her son, and it's really nice. It's really nice.
So
And
it's,
then-
it's on the 3rd floor of the event?
That display,
Oh,
but then
okay.
also there'll be a display that the historian's putting together. So I think he's got kind of facsimiles of things that you can actually see and touch up close, and it will actually be outside. I think the weather's going to be really nice, but it'll be a short program. So if you
Courthouse, not the.
the courthouse in the county building, I apologize.
okay.
So it's all
On Fair-
it's 44
on Fair Street.
Fourth Street,
On Fair
Fair Street, at corner from
Okay.
Old Dutch Church. But on the 3rd floor, there's a surrogate courthouse, and that's actually, of course, we know that Sojourner had her famous court case at that courthouse, but there's also a courthouse within the county building. So it's really cool. It's really cool. I didn't know she was a singer, Kit, like you. I didn't realize she was a singer. And apparently she was very witty. So I went digging a little bit deeper. I was like, Trevor, I loved you before, but I love you even more now. Yeah, it's so nice. I sent Kit a photo. I'll stop after this, but he came, they installed her, and I went downstairs, saw her hi, because I commuted with her hi, and I came back and someone had put flowers in her arms, which was so nice. And then tomorrow, there's sort of a gate, right, to kind of keep people from touching it, but tomorrow we'll remove those gates, so she's just more accessible.
Was this inside or outside?
Outside.
Okay, just outside. That's what I thought it was. But somehow when you were talking, it sounded like.
It's an inside component, so there's on the 3rd floor, there are the
Right.
documents that pertain to
Right.
Sojourner, which is worth it. Then there'll also be a display that's been set up by the historian that he's going to bring other items related to her legacy, and then the program is actually in front of a statue, which is so awesome. I mean, that was such a beautiful program that you had done here and friends, but it's just great to have her in the county still. Excited.
So it's outside of the county building where
So
DMV is.
right in front of
Outside
the
of that
DMV,
building.
right in
Okay.
front of the statue. So she's in that little nook
Okay.
right in front of the DMV benches, but outdoors. So it'll just be taking place right there. There's
And
not.
then you're the caretaker for, you look over her while she is.
Well, I will spiritually look over her, but I think there's, technically it's still New Paltz's.
No, well, she was my responsibility when she was here. She was on, well, you have a temporary loan agreement.
Yes.
With the youth laws. So basically, the county is responsible for her, while she is in your.
I suppose so. I need to see
So
what.
I'm just trying to think what you and Sarah cross, because you're gonna be doing art, Sarah's gonna be doing art
Yeah.
as well. you're gonna be working with me on stuff, thank
Yeah.
goodness.
We're all
We
gonna
had
be
such a
working
good
together.
time when we
Yes.
did the international.
We're all gonna,
visitors.
yeah, we're all gonna work together.
So,
She's
Okay.
another person who has a big, it's pretty big what's on her plate, and she's one person.
We've met.
Yeah, so,
And I've invited her to come and visit when she gets her feet wet.
Oh,
I also, you had sent, because I know that she's away, we're going to get together. She is being bought at the table for the county's mural project.
Mhm.
The county is doing a mural on a building near City Hall.
oh, the thing, oh, okay, yeah.
So that's when I got confused when you sent the other email, because I was looking really fast.
Yeah,
So Sarah, is inviting you to that table,
okay,
which will be
excellent,
nice.
excellent.
Because I do have concerns, just about community engagement, and, what it's gonna look like and where, if at all, the community will be invited to weigh in on, the nature of that mural or what have you. It seems like that is coming out of the county executive's office.
So I think she actually is gonna be the one who's shepherding it, and if I'm not mistaken, honestly, they were just asking me for kind of a reference point, so I think they're also looking at just
Well, this
physically.
is, that's one thing. And then
Oh, that's-
you sent
separate.
around Hudson.
Yes,
That's what you were sending.
okay, oh, you're talking about a different thing.
To ask us if
Yeah,
there were any ideas on where murals
Yes.
could
Yeah.
go
Be
from
located
art and
outside.
Hudson's process.
yes,
So I'm glad that Lindsay Wolkowitz, who is on our public art committee,
Yes,
was
yes.
saying that he would be
Jumped in,
willing
yeah.
to sit at the table and advise, because my concern about any mural, anything, is that we're famous for murals, thanks to O Positive, but we have such deserts going on in so many other areas of Ulster County that do nothing. It would be great if, the county could consider, moving some art into those areas. That would be great.
absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Let's be in touch.
I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
again,
no,
I'm-
absolutely. And
I've
there-
always had fun, well, not only fun, but it's always been razzle dazzle with you, and just
Uh,
glad you belong to us now.
But
State
yeah,
funds lost.
yeah. But I think there's a lot of opportunity, and because everything's so focused on Kingston, because Kingston's the big city and, which is wonderful, I love it, but, there's a lot of opportunity in the sort of outside of, Kingston, even outside of Saugerties, Kingston, the big ones, Ellenville, but even going further
In
out.
between,
Yeah.
Accord and Lumbertown. and all
Yes.
These little
Yeah.
hamlets that,
Yeah,
just need us, need our presence.
absolutely.
So Dina, you're gonna be doing arts?
I'm not explicitly doing arts, but I hope to bring the arts lens to the kind of diversity work that we're doing. So I have already had a conversation, sat with Sarah and Jen to talk about ways in which she's gonna act, but also how we can bring diversity into the sort of arts picture. So that's our
This.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's great. That's
Yeah.
good. Sounds like a good.
And yeah,
partnership.
and I think it's great that it's in tourism. There are just lots of opportunities. I mean, everything from, one thing that I thought of, everyone's very focused on America 250, which is important and nice, but it's also FIFA, which is World Cup. And there are all kinds of international communities here. So I had next, which should be some of the concerts before Brazil games. And we know that Argentina's playing, we know that Japan's playing, and there are all these little sub-communities. So just to do something where we can bring culture in. She had ideas about, yes, let's get Deep Stadium. And so any ideas you have, I really value, of course, all of your opinions. We have a diverse group here, so please, just in terms of any ideas you have, I'm interested. But that, I think for us, especially, I'm a little bit concerned. No, I am. No. I am in terms of, because I can tell you some of the material that I've seen from my old job, which is narrowing the concept of what America 250 is in a way that I think is not, doesn't resonate with the kind of diversity of our community. So I do think this would be a nice parallel activity to have. Because and we'll play too. So the United States, whenever you host, we'll have Canada and Mexico, so the Mexican community, in the United States, and we'll play too. But it's a really, like, people come out of the woodwork if their countries are playing in the World Cup. Like, people who don't care about soccer will come out. So anyway, I think they're just some nice things that we might want to think about here too.
You should look at there's a huge youth soccer league
Yes.
community, and then there's the Sake Football Club.
Yes.
And then, I mean, there's lots of ways that you
Tons of stuff. Yeah, tons of
And
stuff.
there's like Latino pickup games all over town.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Just a quick,
Yes.
a quick mention. I think that we should always remember that public art exists beyond murals.
Absolutely.
And but in the city of Kingston, you'd think that it was only murals, because of course we know that to the positive, and that's a good thing, but it's like, no, actually there's three-dimensional art, and there are reliefs, and all these other things.
And then performance, that's not necessarily.
Well done.
And
Right, so I so thank you for inserting these ideas.
yeah, and I think that Sarah also is not a fine artist. So I think she comes from the more performance and music, and so that's great. Really good. Thanks. Yeah.
Great. Well, I'm glad, Ulster County's lucky to have you.
Lucky to be in Ulster County.
Yeah.
I really am.
Okay, moving on.
One of
Oh,
the, before we
what?
continue, sorry.
course.
Director Potter, is Commissioner Castro in any of your waiting rooms or
No.
anything? Okay, I sent them.
I texted him, I heard him.
I will, I changed my address again. No problem. Wait.
Okay. Strategy and Funding Committee Report. Do you want to start,
Do you
Kim?
want me to take it?
I mean,
I got it.
Okay, you got it.
I have sent some items for the executive session, but I want to, yes, we can, with, you have the rundown for the Arts and Hudson grant. We received $3,000. That will go towards our 250 exhibition, USA 250. We're going wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry? Oh, no, just said something. So I just wanted to give you, Ruth Ann suggested that we do presenters only for that grant, not make it complicated, make it smooth. It's our first. We intend on going back for more. So, yay, Kit, Ruth Ann. It's great. Keep mobile. Ruth Ann did a great job on that. And I have to mention that, she came strong. We haven't heard yet. But, forgive me, but I have to, proceed with, positive thought, being the grants coordinator for other areas. I just say we put it in there, we did our best, and we got positive thought. So I really feel strongly because she's Ruth Ann, but also because of her approach. She's talking about our economic returns to our exhibitions. So she used all kinds of calculators in this grant. And did report to T-Mobile that it can reveal the exhibition X amount of people, say 250. Out of that, calculate. The reinvestment into Kingston's economy in that one day was $40 per person. I was like, oh, Ruth Ann. Looking at this, yeah, such a good time writing her, yeah. So, she really feels strongly because we should hear any day now.
This
She's
is
applied for
like
26,000. The engineering department will be working, as well, hopefully. We get electricians soon, but she feels strongly that the upcoming exhibition, December 6th exhibition, is going to be lit.
That's such a major thing. It's beyond just lighting the
It is.
pictures. City Hall is so dreary. And having that lighting becomes a welcoming thing to people.
Well, I've been feeling sad about poorly lit, brilliant art. The last exhibition, the new artists were very gracious, but they were lamenting how dark the gallery was. And I've been talking to Ward and others, like, how do we light this? And Ruth Ann found this grant and she went for it. And I feel strongly that, fingers crossed, we're gonna see it soon. NISCA, we've applied for 25,000. We'll know in November. I've got my eyes on Mellon and let me just go to Hudson River Valley Greenway. Roseanne is going to be talking to Taylor Brook, the Ulster County clerk. You know, Taylor and Eddie and Jonathan and I work very closely together. We don't do anything without each other. And now we have our Ethan, because our master plan, says tell the truth about, Kingston through the arts. And, we are so rich in history here. And our delivery has, the all eyes from the state level saying they're the most, Kingston's the most, progressive historic city because we just don't shoot at each other. We tell it. We tell the lost voices, but we tell it through performing and literary and now going into next year, hopefully projections and other forms of art to tell, the stories of the burning of Kingston, the lost voices, but, going into these pivotal years, historic years, USA 250, the year after that, we're talking about the 400th anniversary of the first slave ships landing in Kingston, the 200th anniversary of the Emancipation, the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War. And we're looking at the human side of all of this. We're not looking at boom, boom cannons. We're looking at the human. And, that I think is getting more attention in the way that we're looking to approach this. So they'll be talking about the Hudson River Greenway. If one or the other, if either the city or the county applies solo, then up to $20,000. However, if we apply as partners, we can go up to $30,000 for that. And that would be for next year's Burning of Kingston and related historic presentations. I have been studying Mellon, and there you have their 990 from 2022. And as we know, the work, big thanks to Lester Burns.
This one.
Thank you to Lester Burns, cousin and colleague, who came and graciously, did a estimate for us on what it would cost to repair our work progress administration collection. She estimated about 40, so let's just give it a even 50 grand to repair, reframe, do it all, maybe more. I mean, she was looking at a blue light and she didn't have it off the walls, but just giving us an eyeball. Very happy with the condition versus the condition of other cities who are holding work progress administration holdings and the Vanderlyn, very bad shape. I think because we've had ours hanging, we've had ours on display and not somewhere in storage and poorly stored. But, just trying to think about how we can, and this will wrap into the public art policy committee, but how we can draw attention to the condition and raise funds. I would like to, after we get through this year, put a committee together with board, the strategy and funding committee, Sarah, Ruth Ann, others who will give us time to have like a think tank session about this Mellon grant. I think we qualify for it. They do fund capacity. They would fund the repair of the WPA, but there's other things that they would fund as well.
Yeah, because just a very quick look, there is very little that is similar to what we want.
Yeah, but this is just this year in money. I just wanted to give an example, but I did look at their criteria.
Yeah.
And they would fund, and they have in the past funded repairs of.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm rather be positive about this, but we're talking.
Yeah, Mellon is.
Well, I know they're
Yeah, they are.
competitive, but I also think we are.
No, it's terrific.
No, they're competitive and they seem to be doing a lot of archival stuff. They're really also really diverse. They're doing jazz. They're filling in where the government is
I'd like to study that. I'd love to study.
racial.
There's
Yeah, I like that.
So this is one idea, but I believe that there was an attempt to get done 10 years ago. And didn't happen. But I just feel strongly that we are strong. In being able to cultivate their attention. But I think we need some think tank session on that. This is just an idea I'm throwing out there. There's plenty of ideas. I'm just hearing sideline conversations here, but I'm getting above going on here.
When that happens,
Like I think.
when that happens, when it, you should, have for whoever is going to be in the room, the names of the staff members and know.
Yes, okay.
I'm
Sometimes,
looking at them right now. With the clients.
yes, that's,
Little staff.
that would be very helpful.
Right on the page, it's one of you.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Oh, it is.
it's a very helpful site.
So I'd like to just send the package, their package together with their staff and everything like you're saying. And perhaps, shoot for maybe January for this think tank session, where we really, just share ideas on how strong we can come. And give within that concept paper and let her go to work. I also wanted to know from board, because I saw that there's one more strong one, the Terra Foundation, they funded Dorsey. Because going into the year that I just talked about, I gave it to you there. But there's another one. Do you have it? Seven notes. Yeah.
Fair, is this fair?
Yeah.
Is it very,
Dorsey did that for a special exhibition. And I feel like a well-lit gallery now, and we have this pivotal 2027 year with all of this major historic. Why not go after? So I'd like to ask board if you would just sit with me and study that
Yeah.
and see if there's a possibility, or if you think I'm just dreaming. But I looked at that and I just felt, that was absolutely.
Typically, a place like Terra, it's going to be because the topic is going to get them
Right.
and the community that will benefit from that, or communities, obviously. And so we have to think about it in a way that adds content.
Yeah.
To it. But it's fun to,
I want to add Eddie to this conversation, Eddie Moran, because when he was the historian for Historic Huguenot, he's now ours. He established some relations with the Stockbridge Nuncy, as well as the Esopus for in Kentucky. Now that he's ours, they're willing to talk about presence in Kingston again. And that's just one idea. There's a lot floating. But something like that, it's so expensive to ask them to come home, get them home with, the cultural significance that they would present coming home. But not just for, because that they come every year to the Historic Huguenot, and they do a lot of dancing, what have you. I'm talking more bring them home.
And also there's some, we could look into it, there's some seed sharing, actually. I know that Soul Fire Farm has, cultivates seeds that are sort of indigenous to their culture. And they actually pay taxes to some, I think to the Muncie, if I'm not mistaken, who live in like the Midwest somewhere. So it could be cool to kind of tie it together to,
But also to bring what we're talking about.
Yes.
Yes.
On the city project and a project college. College project.
yes,
The tie with Kingston Land Trust and.
Yeah.
It's.
was the Terra grant to the Dorsey when you were there or afterward?
No, not when I was there.
Or was it presumably after?
That's certainly not before, so if you would be after. Yeah.
Excellent.
Did you all have anything else to add? The rest of my talk is for executive session, please.
Okay. Including the bids.
Oh, we can talk about this.
Okay, I mean, we are.
That's next, that's the public art.
Oh, okay. All right, so we'll move on to the next thing then. I don't know if there's any questions or comments. All right, Public Art Policy Committee report. You want to start fit, President?
Thanks.
I could briefly say we looked at the operating guidelines document that's been before this group, and we're just doing some fine tuning
Mhm.
with that and the forms for unsolicited proposals, which dovetails with donations or gifts. And we just want to clean that up, and that should be back
Lisa.
to Kit for the end of August, which I understand is coming up.
Oh, but
Is it
not
moving?
by the end of August. I have my budget, I have to present my budget on the 2nd of September, so give me a little time with that. But it'll be.
But it's coming.
It's coming.
Has there been any response to the opening of the new park and the sculpture? Has
I
anyone,
wouldn't know,
because
but
I've seen like nothing, you
I
know?
haven't either.
I know that you all asked that at the last meeting.
I thought maybe since then.
Everything has been crazy busy, so, probably when things slow down a little bit, you know, we'll have, but what I'd love, my dream is to have Ruth Ann visit a commission meeting and just talk about stuff across the board, including post office park and how that project is going.
Well, I didn't know they showed. Yeah, I didn't know they showed.
Emily's in charge of it.
Pardon me?
It's Emily's park.
I'm not sure who's on it,
Emily Ward.
but if you're talking about the sculpture, Ruth Ann led that, yes.
Then chaired the committee.
Yeah, but I didn't know since the park opened, whether there's been any feedback or that's all. Because it would be a great way of telling the future of public art in the city. Now, we opened this beautiful park, we installed a sculpture. There was a committee that chose the artist. The sculpture looks handsome and it's where it is. It's standing up, that kind of thing.
I think we got caught in upstate art weekend and the Times coverage, and it took up a lot of PR oxygen, I think, but it's a big event. You want to
Yeah.
continue?
Yes, so request for letters of interest for the initial inventory of the municipal arts collection. I sent you all a draft. Ruth Ann flagged me and said, you don't need to put out an RFP. You can just go after bids. Board sent me a beautiful list of folks that, you know, are qualified and could very well produce their work. There's $7,000 in the budget right now for that. So now that my budget has been submitted to John Toohey, I'll be working on that next.
Great.
And report back. Thank you. And this is the initial. Lester had a good question. Shouldn't you tell everybody how many? I don't know. It's never been done before.
Could be multiple choice. but
It's never. This is the brand new.
You know, when people are costing out the scope.
We can tell them how many
What
sites,
we know.
how many rooms, how many sites, but I can't tell them how many holdings there are.
But you're going to the fire department, et cetera, et cetera.
Every single piece, including the parks, the monuments, the statues, everything,
Including the boxer.
including the boxer. I'll get to that in executive session.
My favorite.
You have to get at least 3 bids, right?
Three.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get on that as well. We also have the draft of the call for art. And I heard back from Casey, maybe some good, edits. I need to put that out very quickly. Did anybody else, was anybody else able to look at it?
I thought his feedback covered everything.
Okay, very good. So
Do you want
it's,
to- You don't want to spell it. Does anyone know how you spell disciplinary, multidisciplinary? English major, you know. Right there. Anyway. I think it's an I-9, but no, it was other than that.
okay.
Do we need to form any sort of selection committee to
This is what
support?
goes on every year. The next step is the selection committee.
I mean, I'm sorry, going back to the bids for the inventory. Do we need to form it, or is it just you
I
can
think
hire?
that the Kingston Arts Commission can do that, take care of this.
Right.
I'll double check with Ruth Ann, but I think select the person.
But they should also have a modus operandi for doing it, you know. I will, the person who's, the people who are applying, you know, in terms of, I suggest putting it on this, what do you call it?
Platform.
platform.
Well, I'm gonna use the platform, the draft that we did, instead of putting it out as an RFP.
No, I'm saying when the person creates the list of the collection, they should be recommending what platform it should go on, you know, it should be accompanied by digital photos. Should the digital photos be front and back? I'm just thinking this up now, but you know, that's the requirement.
Right, I agree with
Their
their
methodology.
Thank you.
Their approach.
Should work.
Methodology.
That's
Work today.
It's the right-
I don't know where that came from, but that was part of the RFP. And then also attaching how Jennifer got us started, and that was with the picture coming out of the wall. So she started us with a template. She said, do what you will, but here's the start. It wasn't fully comprehensive. It's not probably what Kingston wants, but at least you got that started, so I'll attach that as well.
So then going back to your other clarifying question, yeah, what a selection committee for the open.
Yeah, the call for art, that will, you know, as every year, the Kingston Arts Commission is invited to be on the selection committee, as well as the Public Art Committee, as well as the staff Public Art Committee. And then some outside folk, you know, just put it out there to, you know, the regular fans of Kingston.
That's a lot.
Well, it is, but you know what, there's not a whole lot of people that raise their hands either.
Quick.
But at least we covered.
Yeah, yeah.
We've offered. But when it came back from the staff public art committee, I think out of the 9, I got 2. Okay, so because it's quite a bit of art to go through. And what Sue Cahill said last year, she was tearing, trying to figure out, you know, how to vote for her top. But anyway, I'm going to move on because we've got a lot. The lunettes that Eva was talking about, we did write in one of the grants for that event. So if we can't use anything from the Ed Ford Fund for that event, we did at least apply for something towards that event. That's all I have for that. Lester, did you have any more to add for the Public Art Committee?
No, I think executive session will cover the other topic that came up before. So nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Any comments, questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, anything more on the municipal art collection authority to register? Okay, we covered that.
I'll be, you know, I'm gonna have to ask everybody to work with me by email. We get so much going on at once.
I get a motion to move into executive session. Thank you, Gina.
Second.
Second from Lester. Everyone in favor, please say.
Huh?